Magandang gabi. Magandang umaga pala. Magandang umaga po mga kaibigan. 1:30, pero napipilitan ako na mag-live sa ngayon. Dahil po, ngayon ang eksaktong oras, nakaraang taon, na nililipad na sa eroplano ngayon si Digong Duterte nung nililipad papuntang Diheg. Kaya pag-usapan natin. Sa aking pong matalinong scientifica na pagtingin sa kaso, ano ba ito? Meron akong problema. Ulit. I-remove ko ba? Ang maganda siguro ay, yan ako muna ha. I-restart ko muna, i-restart. I-restart ko muna, Kakamaro. Ating pag-usapan ngayon, yung 1 taon ni Digong Duterte. Natandaan natin ganitong oras, 1:30, na-monitor ko po. March 11, March 12 na, nung panahon na yun. Nasa eroplano si Digong Duterte na sakay sa Gulfstream. Papunta siya ng Dubai. Tapos from Dubai, maggagasolina ang eroplano, lilipad na naman papuntang Diheg. So, yun po yung kanyang lipad. Pero sa ngayong oras, ay hindi pa siya nakarating ng tinatawag na Diheg sa panahon na yun. Wala bang audio? Wala bang audio? Hello? Hello? May audio ah. Subukan ko nga. Hello? Hello? Meron na. Magandang gabi po. Meron, no? Ating pag-usapan po. So anyway, this is my analysis. Ang pundasyon ng analysis ko po ay dahil sa kaalaman ko sa batas. Lalo na sa batas ng ebidensya. Ang batas ng ebidensya sa Pilipinas ay hindi rin naiba sa batas ng ebidensya sa Diheg, sa International Criminal Court. Kasi yung Diheg, ang mga judge doon ay hindi po sila jury, kundi mga judges. So nagbabase sila sa kung anong ebidensya. So may sa bumimit, alaikum assalam. Sabi niya, Tony Toto, solid supporter nyo from Basilan. DDS, all the way. Sa mga tausog. Ano ba yung good morning, maray may naat ba? Good morning sa kwan. Marayaw. Tingnan natin ano ang good morning sa tausog. Lalo saan ka ba sa Basilan? Sa Isabela? O sa kwan? Lamitan? Marayaw may naat. Tama ako. Marayaw may naat sa mga taga-Basilan. Lalo na sa Lamitan. Sa Isabela. Sa kay Mayor, sino bang mayor dyan? Si Maslim ang mayor dyan. Asawa ni, nakalimutan ko mayor dyan. Anyway, sige, sabihin nyo kung sino si mayor dyan. Okay? Ang mayor naman sa Lamitan ay inakusahan ng aking client na si Chow Chow Yumol na drug lord. Yan yung asawa, yung namatay yung asawa niya, yung pinatay kuno ni sa Ateneo ni Dr. Chow Chow Yumol. Si Urik, Urik Purigay. Tama, Urik Purigay pala. Urik Purigay Ayusin mo naman ang iyong ano diyan. Nagkita-kita tayo sa korte no nung ako'y abogado ni Dr. Chow Chow Yumol. Nagkita-kita tayo sa Zamboanga City. So ngayon, pag-usapan lamang po natin si Duterte. Noong panahon na yon, ganito po, ay nalipad siya papuntang Diheg. Ngayon, noong panahon ng March 7, nagpalabas ng warrant of arrest ang ICC laban kay Digong. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, sa ngayon po, matapang ako magsasabi na ibabasura sa loob ng 60 days mula ngayon. Ibabasura ng International Criminal Court Pre-Trial Chamber ang kaso laban kay Digong. Bakit po? Simple lang po. Noong panahon na pinalabas ang warrant of arrest laban kay Digong, ang ebidensya ay ebidensya lamang ng mga prosecutor. Ano mga ebidensya nila nun? Mamaya, pag-usapan natin anong mga ebidensya nila noon na bakit Psycho Maro wala bang sounds? Alam ko may sounds eh. Oh. Tika mo na. Wala nga sounds ata. Meron naman na. Bakit walang sound sa iyo? Sige lang. Sabi ni Kay Kumaro, wala daw sound eh. Loud and clear naman daw, Kay Kumaro, sabi ni Joel Castronebo. Okay, ulitin ko lang ha. Anyway, 7 minutes pa lang nakuhan. Ulitin ko lang para klaro. Sa panahon po, nung inisyo ang warrant of arrest laban kay Digong, noong March 7, ay ang ebidensya na ginamit, ebidensya lang nila. Wala pang ebidensya si Digong doon. Ngayon, ang baba po ng level ng ebidensya ang hinahanap para magpalabas ng warrant of arrest. Kumbaga sa Pilipinas, may tinatawag ang pag-warrant of arrest sa atin kailangan probable cause. Pag probable cause sa atin, tinaasan pa yung ginawa pang prima facie evidence with reasonable certainty of conviction. Yung probable cause po ay hindi po nalalayo yan sa ganitong sitwasyon. Na kung pag-ipon-ipunin mong ebidensya ay sapat na makonvict ang akusado, sakasakaling ang akusado ay hindi magpresenta ng kontra-ebidensya. Yan po yung prima facie evidence. So, kagaya riyan sa probable cause, malapit-lapit na dyan. Pero mas mababa ang uri ng probable cause. Pero naman sa tinatag dito sa ICC, quantum of evidence for warrant of arrest at ICC. Tapos quantum of evidence for confirmation of charges. So sa pagpalabas po ng warrant of arrest, nakalagay po sa batas ng Rome Statute na nakalagay po sa Rome Statute asa ba? Okay, stop operating. Bakit naman? For warrant of arrest, ang standard of proof of evidence ay reasonable grounds to believe lang. Basta may rason ka lang maniniwala na nag-commit ng crime si Digong. Mababa po yung level ng ebidensya na kailanganin. Pero sa kanila, magpapalabas sila ng warrant of arrest. Ngayon, ang kasunod na proseso nila ay yung tinatawag na confirmation of charges. I-prepare ng ICC prosecutor ang kanilang ikakaso laban kay Digong. Ang hindi mo kumali, 49 charges. At suportahan nila ng ebidensya at titingnan ko mayroong tinatawag na kung makukonfirm ba. Anong level ng confirmation? Sa confirmation charges naman, ang standard of proof is substantial grounds to believe. So substantial grounds to believe, malapit-lapit siya sa probable cause. Versus reasonable grounds to believe. So mas mababa ang level ng ebidensya sa reasonable grounds to believe kumpara sa substantial grounds to believe. Ang substantial grounds ay parang tinatawag sa Pilipinas na evidentiary level kapag ang kaso ay administrative case. Okay? So ngayon, nagpalabas po ng warrant of arrest ang ICC sa panahon na yon dahil lamang po sa ebidensya ng prosecutor. Sa ngayon po, naiba na sitwasyon. Naiba na sitwasyon kasi nagsumiti na rin kontra ebidensya si Attorney Kaufman. Kung mapapansin nyo, ang layo na diferensya. Mamaya isa-isahin natin kung bakit nagsasabi ako na sa loob ng 6 na pong araw ay mapapabasura na ang kaso laban kay Digong. Yan ay sa punto de vista lamang ng ebidensya. Ngayon, may isa pang punto de vista na i-discuss ko mamaya paggising ko. Ang paglabas naman ni Digong Duterte, kung hindi base sa ebidensya, napakalakas po yung kanyang legal argument in law na walang jurisdiction ang ICC sa kaso ng Pilipinas or over Digong Duterte. Pero ang itutok lamang natin ngayon ay yung ebidensya patungkol naman sa kung nakakomit ba siya ng crime o hindi. Ladies and gentlemen, ang mga ebidensya ng prosecution noon ay ganito. Isa-isa natin. Mga video na kung saan nagsasalita si Digong Duterte na kill, kill, kill. Marami yun. Siguro mga sabihin natin na 10. Pero it turned out na pagdating sa depensa, mas maraming depensa ng video si Kaufman, 35. So, 35 as against 10. Yan, ganun kadami. So, kung 35, mga 350% ang lamang. So next, ano pang ibang evidence nila laban kay Digong? Ang evidence nila laban kay Digong sa panahon ay maliban sa video ay mga dokumento kagaya ng Memorandum Circular 16/2006 na kung saan nagpalabas ng memorandum si Bato. Ang memorandum na laman ay Oplan double barrel na nagkikwento, nag-uutos sa lahat ng pulis na kailangan magkaroon ng neutralization. Kay Kumaro, pwede bang patayin mo uli mo na cellphone mo tapos i-on ulit? Mukhang sa cellphone mo po ang sira. Kaya kasi iba mga kasama natin dito, meron na ring merong sounds. Okay? So ganon ang ating sitwasyon. Hindi po ako nanluloko, Catherine Polidario. Totoo po ito. Na nung panahon ng sinampa ang kaso at pinalabasan si Digong ng warrant of arrest, ang isa pang ebidensya nila maliban sa mga videos ay yung Memorandum Circular 06/2016 na kung saan nag-uutos na kailangan neutralize ang mga elements or elemento ng droga kagaya ng adik at saka tulak. Yan ang nakalagay. Yan ang ginamit na ebidensya laban kay Digong. Pangatlo ay ang ebidensya na 5,000 plus ang namatay sa panahon na yung war on drugs. Pang-apat, meron silang tinatawag na insider witness na si Matubato para naman sa Davao Death Squad at saka si Arturo Las Cañas, Davao Death Squad din. At wala silang insider witness para sa war on drugs. Kung pag-usapan natin ang war on drugs na ginamit nila na ebidensya para mapalabasan ng warrant of arrest si Digong. So magandang umaga, Elizabeth Linsangan. Maraming salamat po sa palipad mo. O yung iba dyan, magpalipad na rin. Tsaka mag-join kayo sa channel ko, 75 pesos a month lang. At saka i-like nyo palagi para lagi kayo by notification kapag magla-live ako. So, unahin natin. Ang unang ebidensya na pinalabas ay yung mga video kuno ni Digong na lumabas sa news. Na kung saan ay pinresenta sila na nagsasalita ng kill, kill, kill. Number 2, yun po yung Circular 06-2016 na kung saan nag-utos ng Dooplan double barrel at kailangan i-neutralize ang mga adik at saka tulak. Tapos, binanggit pa ng prosecution na ang salitang neutralize ay ibig sabihin nag-utos na pumatay. Yan po ang kanilang ginagawa. Tapos, ang pangatlong ebidensya na ginamit nila laban kay Digong ay yung mga report kung ilan ang namatay. So, iyan ang pinakatatlong main. Tsaka pang-apat, iyon po yung insider witness na nagsalita si Matubato at saka si Las Cañas. Wala na pong ibang ebidensya. With this evidence, nagdesisyon ang International Criminal Court Pretrial Chamber Judge na sapat ang ebidensya para sabihin na mayroong reasonable grounds to believe na nagkasala si Digong Duterte sa salang crimes against humanity. Ganon po sitwasyon ng araw. Ngayon, naiba ang sitwasyon. Nakita mo naman ninyo, natunghayan ninyo sa presentasyon ng depensa. Anong nangyari? Sa naunang ebidensya nila ng video, nagpresenta ng video naman si Kaufman at lahat ng mga video na ginamit ng nag-akusa ay pinalabas niya rin. At naipakita niya na ang mga bidyong ito ay pinalabas ng mga bias na media sa Pilipinas. Kasi ano nangyari? Sa dulo kasi ng video, kapag itinuloy-tuloy mo play, patugtugin mong mga video kung buo, sa dulo, halimbawa sinabi ni Duterte, kill, kill, kill. Sa karugtong nun, but if you will kill without justification, there will be hell that awaits you. Yan ang sinabi niya sa mga pulis. Ang laki ng pag-iiba, no? So because of that, naging zero ang epekto ng video nila. Ano sa tingin nyo kung maging zero yung epekto? Kasi ginamit nila ebidensya yung video eh. Isa ngayon, nagpinalabas ni Kaufman, ang dulo pala ng video yun, nagsasalita si B. Duterte. Patayin nyo. Pero kung pumatay kayo, sa dulo, kung pumatay kayo, na walang dahilan, ay kakasuhan kayo. There will be hell waiting for you. Merong impyerno na naghihintay sa inyo. Yan po, klarong sabi. Diyan pa lang tayo mag-usap, tumba na kagad ang kaso laban kay Digong. Yan pa lang ha. O ngayon, pangalawa, yung mga inutos na maraming namatay, 5,000, hayaan na lang muna natin yan kahit hindi na kontra ni Kaufman yan. Pangatlo, yung Circular 06-2016, pinresenta rin ni Atty. Kaufman. Ang ginagawa po, sabi niya, ng mga prosecutor ay tinatago yung ibang laman ng memorandum circular. Nakalagay sa memorandum circular na kailangan mag-operate ang lahat ng pulis para ma-neutralize ang mga adik at tulak. Ang problema lang, pinresenta ni Kaufman na yung kaparehong memorandum circular, sa ilalim nito may nakasulat na kapag gumawa kayo ng masama ay kakasuhan ang mga pulis. So, dalawa na. Ibig sabihin na neutralize na. O, ano pang isa? Ang isa, yung mga insider witness. Sila ni Matubato. Sila ni sa ngayon meron silang bagong witness, si Rowena Garma. Tapos si Arturo Las Cañas. Anong sinabi naman ni Kaufman? Ang mga testigo po nila ay grabe po, napatunayan na rin na ginastusan ng gobyerno para makapunta lamang sa dihig. Ginastusan si Las Cañas, ginastusan si Matubato, ginastusan si Rowena Garma. Kaya sinabi ni Kaufman, paano mo gagamitin na tama yung mga testigong ito na nagsasabi ng totoo, na kung sila mismo ay nagsasabi na libo rin ang pinatay ng bawat isa? Pagkatapos, si Rowena Garma, pinaalis siya mula sa Manila, ay isang araw, pinapunta mo na ni Boying Rimulya, pinapunta niya sa Malaysia. Pagdating sa Malaysia, kinabukasan lumabas ang warrant of arrest laban kay Rowena Garma, kasama niyang iba na si Santi Mendoza na pulis, na colonel, dahil sa pagpatay nila kay Wesley Barayuga, kay General Wesley Barayuga. Akalain mo, si Rowena Garma, na kriminal sa Pilipinas, gagawin nilang testigo, so sira ang credibility. Doon na lang tayo mag-usap sa apat na uri na yun. May iba pang depensa si Kaufman. Susunod sa tingin nyo, noon, na palabas ang warrant of arrest, wala pa yung ebidensya, kontra-ebidensya ni Kaufman. Ngayon, may kontra-ebidensya na. Ano na ngayon mangyayari? Natural, ibasura. Di ba? Natatawa lang ako sa inyo. I'm laughing at you. Julian Nichols. Attorney Julian Nichols, all that you said when you delivered your speeches to confirm the charges against Digong Duterte, you lack fire. You were not eloquent in speaking. And it turned out that you were turned upside down by Attorney Kaufman because it was proved that you just spliced or cherry-picking. You cherry-picked the parts of the video that you wanted to use in order to prove that Duterte was guilty. And yet, Kaufman was also very good enough to prove that the later part of the videos that you presented showed that Digong was saying, kill if you do not have any justification and there will be hell waiting for you. Yan ang sinabi ni Digong Duterte. Ha? Lumalabas ang pagkadugong maranaw ni Duterte. Ano kayo? What can you see now? Prosecutor Mami Menjaye Nyang. What can you now say? It clearly shows that you were only taken for a ride by Trillanes. All your evidence turned out to be fluke, turned out to be nothing. What will happen with your case? Remember, the only thing that kept Duterte there was your original evidence. But the problem is, your original evidence could be considered as only very few, and only very few were added unto it. And even if you will add new evidence or pieces of evidence you gathered, the problem is, many of those evidence tend to exculpate or absolve Duterte. kagaya ng ano, nagpresenta sila ng ebidensya, yung pagkapatay kay Kian de los Santos at saka yung dalawa pang tao, bata, pinatay. The fact that you presented proofs that the 3 policemen who killed Kian de los Santos were convicted by the RTC of Caloocan and now whose sentences were affirmed by the Supreme Court and they are now inside the national believed proves one thing, that Duterte did not consent to the killing of Kian de los Santos. Kung ganon, hindi niya pala hinayaan na mamamatay si Kian de los Santos at kung may ebidensya, pinoprosecute niya rin. So how can you say that there is this common design, common plan for Duterte and company? Sino yung company? Co-perpetrator daw. Duterte, Bato, Danao, Albayalde, Karamat, Giran, tapos si La Peñas, and then Vitaliano Aguirre. How can there be common plan? The only way to prove common plan or kutsabahan kung sa Tagalog pa. How can you prove? Dapat alam ng lahat ng abogado for you to prove common plan is for you to prove the existence of conspiracy. Under the rules of evidence in the Philippines, which is not far from the rules of evidence being used in the International Criminal Court, for you to prove the existence of common plan or conspiracy, you need to have positive evidence. Hindi pwedeng haka-haka, hindi pwede yung circumstantial evidence. And then another thing, for you to prove common plan or kutsabahan, at kailangan to prove that Duterte really ordered the killing, you have to prove that each of those 49 murders that you assailed or that you presented in the ICC confirmation of charges, there must be one video presented for every killing showing that Duterte ordered the killing of each one. But the problem is, lahat po ng video na pinresenta nila ay hindi man lamang nagbanggit si Duterte kung anong pangalan ng papatayin. Walang binanggit. Because the only way, in our logic, if you were a lawyer and good at rules of evidence, the only way for you to prove that Duterte is guilty in any killing there by means of video, then you have to show that video saying, oh, patayin mo si Espinosa. Wala. General statements ang lahat ng video pinisinta nyo. General statements cannot be used to prove each killing. Kada patay, kailangan ay proof beyond reasonable doubt. Paano mo kung titimingin ka ngayon kay Digong, paano patunayan na si Digong may kinalaman sa kada killing? Ito, meron ako nakita, malapit-lapit doon na ginamit ni Attorney Julian Nichols. Hindi Nicholas. Pinakita ni Julian Nichols yung video na kung saan nanonood si Duterte sa video. Nakikita yung mga 3 lalaki na pumapasok sa palengke sa Davao City at pinatay. Pagtapos pinatay, umalis. Pinipresent nila na habang nanonood si Duterte, hindi pa raw nangyayari ang pagpapatay. May inutusan daw si Duterte na pumatay at para masiguro na sinusunod ang utos na pumatay sa Davao, ay pinapanood niyang CCTV. Ang problema, yung CCTV na ginamit nila pinresenta sa ICC ay balita pala yan sa Davao City ng isang reporter na nagrereklamo ngayon. Kuha ko yun sa opisina ni Mayor Rodrigo Duterte na kung saan pinanood namin ang CCTV nang nangyari na ilang araw pa nangyari. Hindi live. Kita mo? So napatunayan naman ngayon na wala pala yung ebidensya ng prosecution. Wala na. Sino ba itong galit sa akin? Hindi ka naman Muslim ata, Ali pang pangalan mo. Gago ka na, tanga ka pa. Wala ka na ba ibabalik sa akin? Bakit mo sabihin na wala ka ng argumento? Kaya klarong-klaro po itong argumento ko eh. Kaya sigurado ko in 60 days from now, palalayain si Digong Duterte ibasura ang kanyang kaso sa pamamagitan ng kakulangan ng ebidensya ninyo. Yun na lamang binabanggit ko. Pakinggan natin muna yung mga ibang salita ni ano dito. Ni Kaufman. Pagkatapos, ang isa pang pinresenta ni Attorney Kaufman ay hindi nila mapakita, nagtatarget si Duterte ng mga sibilyan. Bakit? Pinakita ang detalye ng aresto, na-aresto 97%, ang namatay ay 3% lamang. Anong klase itong mga ebidensya ninyo? Sa totoo lang, makakawawa kayo dito. Kakahiya kayo. Hindi ako nagsasabi kung pabor ako kay Duterte. Nagsasabi ako sa katotohanan. Ito po ang katotohanan. Kulang-kulang ang ebidensya ninyo. Ganon po yung katotohanan dito. Pakinggan natin si Atty. Kaufman.
A genuine criminal investigation is meant to be directed at establishing the truth. It is meant to elicit facts in an impartial manner and not to present witnesses with a preconceived idea and to seek confirmation thereof, whether it be by way of leading questions or anything else. By this, I mean that the golden thread linking practically every one of the interviews of the prosecution's so-called insider witnesses, who are, for the most part, ruthless criminals, is the a priori targeting of Rodrigo Duterte.
Kailangan, kung talagang si Duterte nagpapatay, dapat may prior targeting si Duterte bago papatayin.
In my submission, no real attempt was made to perform this duty of examining exonerating circumstances, or even to establish the existence of other actors who might be responsible for the high incidence of deaths in the context of the war on drugs. Most prosecutors will collate the evidence and thereafter analyze it and decide whether to prosecute with a view to obtaining a reasonable prospect of conviction, which is indeed the standard supposedly applied since Mr. Karim Khan assumed the role of chief prosecutor. A prosecutor is not meant to choose his target in advance and then find the evidence to support a preconceived desire. Now, I'm not going to engage upon a wholesale forensic analysis of the credibility of each and every witness. I am long enough in the tooth to appreciate that issues of credibility and weight are not normally litigated at confirmation, but are left to trial. This case, however, is unique. And as I have said, the prosecution's star witnesses are self-confessed murderers. And most of their statements were taken by the prosecution's investigators with the assurance of limited use.
Turning the tide of your witnesses, hindi binanggit ang pangalan, pero alam ko na si Matubato yun, si Las Cañas at saka si Ruy Nagarma. Sinabi niya, ang testigo nyo na insider witnesses ay criminals themselves. Gagamitin nyo inalok nyo ng limited immunity. Amil Mutalim. Alimak, Sir Alimak. Ito lang ang klaro. How will you believe in a person acting as a witness, saying that he had killed so many, and yet he would testify also that those persons I killed were killed by me because of the orders of Duterte? How will you now believe in that? If the statement was uttered in exchange for immunity from suit, sapagkat wala na siyang takot na makukulong siya, salita na lang siya ng salita. Ito pinatay ko, inutusan ako ng digong. Ito pinatay ko, inutusan ako ng digong. Ito pinatay ko, inutusan ako ng digong. Now, compare the situation to the witness who does not have any immunity. But despite the lack of immunity to be given unto him for his testimony, he still said those truths that included, that pinpointed to him as the killer, having been ordered to do so by Duterte. I-compare mong dalawang sitwasyon yan. One situation, nagtestigo si Arthur Las Cañas. Pinatay ko yan dahil inutusan ako ni Duterte. Itong pangalan ng taong pinatay ko. Ikumpara mo sa sitwasyon na sa unang sitwasyon, pag magsalita siya, hindi siya makukulong. Pangalawang sitwasyon, magsalita siya pero makukulong siya. Saan sa dalawa ang paniniwalaan mo na totoo ang kwento? Natural dito ka pipili sa pangalawang sitwasyon na ang nagsasalita ay walang immunity. Pero nagsasalita pa rin ng pinatay ko yan, inutusan ako ni Duterte. Ibig sabihin, not believable na yung kanilang mga testigo na si Matubato, Ruina Garma, at saka si SPO3 Arturo Las Cañas. Because of the fact that they were given, offered in a silver platter, offered with the assurance that they will not be charged for all the killings that they did. Ganun. Napakatindi ng atake sa kanila ni Attorney Kaufman. Okay, patuloy natin.
Namely, that anything self-incriminating would not be used against them in proceedings at the ICC. Although Mr. Nichols will undoubtedly tell you that these agreements of limited use are not to be understood as the grant of immunity from prosecution, for all intents and purposes, they are. And I am prepared to wager that we will not see even one, not one, of these incriminating witnesses in a dock at this court, nor in a dock at any court anywhere in the world, after they have been rehoused and given protection at considerable expense to the state parties funding this court.
Okay? Napansin niyo pa? Napansin niyo ba na very attentive si Judge Mutok? Very attentive si Judge Mutok. Napakaganda ng argumento ni Attorney Kaufman. Maniniwala ba kayo sa testigo na ito? Who himself has killed so many? And then he will be uttering those statements we consider as self-incrimination, because whenever he speaks, he would speak that I killed those, I killed those, I killed those, because I followed the order of Duterte. Nevertheless, even if it was ordered by Duterte, it is still considered nothing but a class as self-incriminating testimony. So, ang punto ni Nick Kaufman, how will you believe in these witnesses who agreed to speak in exchange for liberty, despite the fact that they will be admitting that they killed so many persons, hundreds of persons? Ganon pong argumento ni Nick tungkol naman dun sa kanila ni Arturo Las Cañas, tungkol naman kay Matubato, tungkol kay Ruina Garma. Ngayon, ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed, let me just leave you this this principle called res inter alios acta. This is a Latin word that says that one person cannot be tied by the statement of another person if there is no separate evidence that would show that the two persons are in conspiracy with each other. So paano? Ano bang ebidensya nila na may pakita na hiwalay na ebidensya na si Matubato at saka si Las Cañas ay pumatay sa utos ni Digong? Hindi ko ma-imagine kung ano merong ebidensya. A statement by one witness can never suffice to prove beyond reasonable doubt na meron silang kutsabahan. It must be an evidence in the form of document, number one. Number two, object evidence. Like for example, cellular phone, nag-text na patunayan, cellphone na number ni Digong, nag-text kay Las Cañas, patayin mo si Ganun, patayin mo si Ganun. Those are the kinds of evidence that you may use to prove conspiracy between the killer and the mastermind. Paano kasi ang problema ninyo, kinasuhan ninyo, kulang-kulang kayo ebidensya sa ICC, and the best that you can do or the best that you can hope for is to charge Duterte with the participation as co-perpetrator. Iba yung direct perpetrator, iyon yung killer mismo. Kaya kung co-perpetrator, there is that another co-perpetrator beneath, kasi indirect si Digong. So sa ilalim niya, may direct co-perpetrator. At sa ilalim niya, iyan po ang nakakonect sa perpetrator. Ilang layer ang iyong dadaanan para mapatunayan mo na may connection from the indirect perpetrator to the perpetrator. Alam naman natin, hindi na natin siguro sabihin, you need not be a lawyer in order for you to know that punishment will be upon those who are personally liable. Because criminal liability is personal to the criminal. Kapag hindi mo patunayan ang personal niya ng partisipasyon by proof beyond reasonable doubt, mahirap po magpatunay ng circumstantial evidence ang gamit. Lalo na ngayon, ng ebidensya mismo na pinresenta ng prosecution na nagsasabi, meron sila mga videos na nagsasalita si Digong Duterte na nag-utos, kill, 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 kill. But the problem is, sa dulo, nabisto sila ni Atty. Kaufman, sa dulo ng mga videos na yon, may karugtong. But if you kill without justification, there will be a hell to pay for you. Sinabi ni Digong yan. So ngayon, ladies and gentlemen, ito pong sitwasyon. Paano ngayon nila mapapatunayan? So dahil sa hindi na mapatunayan ng confirmation of charges, mawawasak, mauwi sa wala ito. Ulitin ko lang, the justification bakit binigyan ng warrant of arrest laban kay Digong ay sapagkat naniniwala sila na may reasonable ground to believe na guilty si Digong. Pangalawa, tumaas ang level ng pangangailangan na ebidensya. Sa confirmation charges, umangat ng isang antas. Kailangan mayroong tinatawag na substantial ground to believe na si Digong ang gumawa. No? Mas mataas ang reasonable. Reasonable lang ay pwede, sabihin mo pwede siyang gumawa. Pero pag nagbatuhan na ng ebidensya, kontrahan na, kailangan ma-maintain ng prosecution yung level ng ebidensya nila at kailangan mas mapataasan pa kasi ang substantial level ay parang substantial evidence yan sa administrative code sa Pilipinas. Substantial evidence is defined as that amount of relevant evidence that is sufficient for a fair-minded person to conclude that the thing is it is. So wala. Ang hirap. Kaya ngayon pa lang tiniterminuhan ko na. Pare-pareho lamang ang ating sukatan ng ebidensya sa ICC saka sa Pilipinas. Ang dami nilang ebidensya na pinasilunel, hindi 1,200 pero mga less than 1,100 plus. But the problem is, sa 1,100 plus na ebidensya pinakita nila, 300 plus dyan na ebidensya ay ginamit ni Attorney Kaufman bilang pabor kay Duterte. Ang tawag dyan ay exculpatory evidence. Ang ganda lang kasi sa ICC na hindi ginagawa sa Pilipinas ay ganito. Ang prosecutor sa ICC ay obligado na ibigay sa akusado ang mga ebidensya na pabor sa akusado. Isa sa ebidensya dyan na pabor sa akusado ay yung kay Kian de los Santos. Kasi mapatunayan mo na na-guilty. Ibig sabihin pag guilty, walang kinalaman si Digong doon sa pagkamatay kay Kian de los Santos. Nang ibig sabihin, looking at the whole picture, you cannot now prove that whole picture is equal to the sum, equal to what happened with the parts of it. Kaya sabi, the sum of it all is equal to the sum of its parts. Paano ang kinukontra dito ang ini-stress dito ni Kaufman, for them to prove connection from the mastermind to the killers. Ang argumento niya number 1, kung nakapagpresenta sila ng video ni Digong, nagbanggit si Digong ng pangalan kung sino patayin kasunod at ipinakita may namatay na ganun din pangalan, in all 49 killing incidents ay mananalo sila. But the problem is not one of those killings was proved to be a kind of killing that the person of the victim was identified prior to the killing by Digong Duterte. Wala eh. Kaya yan po pinaka-problema natin. Problema nyo, hindi ko problema yan. Alam mo, kung dito lamang sa Pilipinas kinasuhan si Digong, mas malaki ang chance na mananalo kasi na andito sa Pilipinas ang testigo. Andito sa Pilipinas ang mga biktima. Bakit namimilit pa kayo ron? Ang layo, bawat testigo dadalhin nyo nun, mamamasahe kayo 100,000 mahigit, almost 200,000, papunta, pabalik, 100,000 mahigit. How can you spend almost 300,000 pesos kada testigo? Si Trillanes lang ang yumayaman dito. So you see, the clarity of it all, very clear. Ang layo-layo ng level. Kaya kung pakinggan mo si Julian Kaufman, ano pa mga may classic example pa si Kaufman doon eh. Anyway, pakinggan pa natin si Kaufman.
I do not think that I would be alone either in believing that there is something morally repugnant or even questionable from a public policy standpoint to shield not only one, but a number of murderers from prosecution at the ICC just in an attempt to nail Rodrigo Duterte. Indeed, in many common law jurisdictions, the use of a self-avowed murderer to convict an alleged murderer would normally entail vetting and scrutiny of the highest order.
Yan, tinutukoy niya si Las Cañas. Kailangan ng vetting kapag magagamit ka ng testigo na killer itself.
Those words, if I'm not mistaken, come from the Crown Prosecution Service's instruction manual. Public source. In fact, I would suggest that it would normally only be approved, firstly, when it is considered of more value to have a suspected person as a witness than as a possible accused. Secondly, whether obtaining the conviction of an alleged murderer is more important than the release of a self-confessed murderer. And finally, whether it is likely that a conviction could be obtained without the cooperation of the self-confessed murderer, or a number of them. Even after this vetting process, most courts and common law jurisdictions require an evidentiary supplement before relying on the sole testimony of a cooperating criminal witness, or what is otherwise called an accomplice witness. Such an evidentiary supplement in legal parlance is called corroboration, and rules exist governing what may be deemed suitable corroboration. I'm pretty sure that these considerations were never considered by the prosecution, for one very simple reason. At least two of the most prominent accomplice witnesses were offered up to the prosecution on a silver platter, and I cannot say by who in open session. Neither the Rome Statute nor its accompanying texts regulate the way statements of limited use are employed. I would like the pre-trial chamber to consider the way academics and the prosecution itself has qualified the implementation of limited use statements in the past. And I quote from paragraph 49, which is open source, of a chapter on the Office of the Prosecutor in the 2022 edition of the Max Planck Encyclopedia of International Law, written by no less than Judge Betty Höhler of this court. And I quote, "One of the agreements the OTP may enter into during the investigation is an agreement with a person suspected of committing crimes within the jurisdiction of the court, is to provide a statement of limited use. The idea is that the person provides the Office of the Prosecutor with an oral or written statement for the purpose of pursuing leads or developing additional information or evidence on the condition that the statement will not be used against the interviewed person except as stipulated in the agreement. The purpose of such agreements is to ensure cooperation of so-called insider witnesses whom the OTP does not intend to prosecute, but are expected to provide key information or evidence against other, usually more senior suspects." Judge Höhler was effectively relying on footnote 20 to the prosecution's own filing, number 1118, in the Bemba Article 70 case, which states the same thing. Those sources stress that limited use statements should be used as a rule to pursue leads or to develop information, but not apparently, outright at any rate, to serve as the key and main testimony against a suspect. In my opinion, there is a good reason for this, and it is contained in the wording of Article 54, 3D of the Rome Statute, which is cited as the statutory basis for limited use statements. The prosecutor is entitled to enter into such agreements granting limited use on condition that the agreement would not be inconsistent with the statute. And I stress those words, not inconsistent with the statute. Using the evidence of self-confessed murderers to obtain leads or develop evidence from other sources, I would suggest, is consistent with the statute, as mentioned by Judge Betty Hohler. To give a get-out-of-jail card, however, to a whole bunch of murderers in order to fix liability to another, albeit pre-selected individual, also selected of murder, is, in my opinion, totally and wholly inconsistent with the object and purpose of the Rome Statute, which, according to its preamble, oft cited by the victims and the prosecution, is dedicated to the eradication of impunity. In my opinion, granting immunity to a murder suspect for core international crimes would be seen as undermining the object and purpose of the Rome Statute.
So, ito, sinamarize niya na. Kung magagrant ka ng tinatawag na immunity from suit is as bad as the objective of convicting the criminal himself. So bakit? Pinabas ni Kaufman, what is the justification? You give immunity from suit na hindi makukulong si Las Cañas, si Matubato, si Roy Nagarma, kapalit ng testigo na ang isa pang kriminal ipakulong mo. So what do we get out of it? You are imprisoning one criminal and yet you are freeing another criminal. And that both criminals, all of them, killed the same persons. Kung yan ang totoo. Okay? Bali, ganun po ang kita. Ngayon, let us visit the justification given by the pretrial chamber when it issued warrant of arrest. Ito, i-review natin, i-compare natin ngayon sa mga nagsilabas na mga depensa. Ito na po ngayon. Basahin na natin ngayon ang nilabas kung anong binasihan ng search ng warrant of arrest, kung bakit naglabas ng warrant of arrest ang ICC pretrial chamber judge. Ito starting tayo sa paragraph 18. Sabi niya, as shown below, ito po yung warrant of arrest laban kay Duterte. Yan. Warrant of arrest, Mr. Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Yan. So ito po yung order. Tignan natin sa justification written in paragraph 14. Paragraph 18. Sabi dito, as shown below, the chamber finds reasonable grounds to believe that in his role as the head of the DDS and subsequently the President of the Philippines, Mr. Duterte used the direct perpetrators of the crimes as tools of the crime. So ngayon, yan pala ang ginamit na dahilan ng ICC pretrial chamber judge. In other words, naniwala lamang ang pretrial chamber judge doon sa presentasyon ng prosecutor. Ang problema sa ngayon, na-debunk na ni Attorney Kaufman. So ito na ngayon ang nangyayari. Por Diyos por Santo. Ngayon, sinabi dati na there was reasonable ground to believe that in his role as the head of the DDS and subsequently the President of the Philippines, Mr. Duterte, used the direct perpetrators. Nung ipinaliwanag na ngayon pinresenta ni Kaufman na yung sinasabi ninyong mga video na kung saan nag-utos si Duterte na patay, ay tinanggal pala ng mga media sa Pilipinas, kaya galit na galit si Kaufman sa media sa Pilipinas. Tinanggal, pinutol ang sa dulo ng video na nagsasabi, if you do your job not right, then there will be a hell to pay for you. Yan po ang utos niya sa mga Philippine National Police members. So, number 19, concerning the DDS, Duterte had de facto control over his unit, which was organized in hierarchical manner with the physical perpetrators at the bottom and Mr. Duterte at the top of the reporting line. Ito, bunga ito ng katotohanan na wala pang isinumiti na ebidensya pabor kay Duterte na kukontra sa kanilang ebidensya. Kaya, sinabi ito ng Spiritual Chamber, his influence was further reinforced by the fact that as the mayor of the city, he had control over the police in the city with the power to direct the functions of police investigation. Sana yun? Tumalon na. Ito. So, paano pa kayo napatunayan at pinakita naman ni Attorney Kaufman na may mga order, lahat naman ng order ni Duterte ay nagsasabi, kapag gumawa kayo ng kasalanan ang address sa mga pulis, there will be a hell to pay for you. So, ibig sabihin, ang laki po ng pinagbago ng mukha ng akusasyon. Kumpara noon na wala pang depensa kay Duterte. Ang laki ng pagbabago. So, let us now read paragraph 20. Dito pa sa paragraph 19, no, the members of the DDS automatically complied with the directions. Ngayon, ang problema nito, dahil nagsumiti na ng counter evidence si Kaufman, ay hindi na paniniwalaan ito ngayon. Ayan, no, hindi na paniniwalaan ngayon yan. Tingnan nyo yan. The members of DDS automatically complied. Ngayon, nagsabiti na si Kaufman ng ebidensya na hindi po yan ang totoo. Malaki ang nawawala na pagtingin ng ICC laban sa kay Digong. Ito naman, paragraph 20, as President of the Philippines, sabi ng ICC, Pre-Trial Chamber Judge, Mr. Duterte was the head of the state who had the de jure control over all the executive departments, bureaus, and offices, including the Philippine National Police. Akalain mo, PDEA, NBI, and all local government units. Pinipicture out si Digong dito na utusan niya ang lahat sumusunod sa kanya. Lumalabas ng binabasihan nila na Circular 06 at 16 06-2016 ay wala naman nakalagay. At napatunayan na ni Kaufman na 3% lamang ang namatay kaysa 100% na kabuuan na nahuli. 97% hinuli, hindi pinatay. Nang ibig sabihin, walang total order, absolute order na lahat ay patayin. Wala. So, malaki ang pinag-iba ng mukha ng kaso kumpara noon kaysa ngayon. Ibig sabihin po, dito na nakita natin ang pag-imbento nila ni Trillanes ng ebidensya laban kay Duterte. Ano pang iba? Sabi na sa 21, Mr. Duterte also had de facto control over all the agencies of the national plan, including the PNP and PDEA. He appointed co-perpetrators from Davao City to high national positions and subordinates who had been involved in the killings in Davao to other parts of the country. Those who committed the material elements of the crimes understood that they do not have the liberty to disobey. Ang hirap paniwalaan. For you to prove na wala daw choice ang mga tao na inutusan daw ni Duterte pumatay. Problema, napatunayan na ni Kaufman na pinresenta yung mga ebidensya contrary to what they are claiming. Very clear na po. Masyado na pong very clear na ito po kasi ang warrant of arrest ni Duterte. Dito nakabase ang mga ebidensya na binasihan ng binasi ng ICC. Sabi na, Mr. Duterte also took advantage of direct perpetrators' issues and concerns, such as being suspected of drug-related offenses. Asa ng ebidensya rito? Lumalabas na 97% hindi naman lang pinatay, nahuli, na rehab. So, yung akusasyon nila is now working against them kasi lumalabas ang ebidensya is showing otherwise. Furthermore, Dr. Duterte made essential contributions to committing the alleged crimes. Nag-contribute, designing, siya pa doon nag-design ng project, nag-disseminate ng project, double barrel, walangs. Okay, that is very clear now. I predict, I stake my honor in this. Very clear na po. Na-debunk ang lahat ng binasihan. Lahat ng ebidensya na binanggit ng pretrial chamber sa pagpalabas ng warrant of arrest ay na-debunk. So with that alone, very sure na po ako na mananaig si Duterte dito. Ganun lamang po ang aking masasabi. So pasensya na po sa mga iba na nag-asam-asam na makukulong pa si Duterte. Pasensya na, Anal sa Gomez, kung tinatawag mo ako na fake news. Pinakita ko na sa inyo yung ebidensya mismo. Okay, maghanap pa tayo ng iba pang just to end this. Ano pa iba? Okay, i-play natin nga to. Pakita natin, subukan natin itong isa. Pakinggan natin si Kaufman dito.
And here I would like to start off by addressing the requirement that the acts of murder alleged be committed as part of or in themselves constitute a widespread or systematic attack. The second requirement is that these acts of murder be directed against the civilian population. With respect to the unique ICC requirement of an organizational policy, I would suggest that this concept has been conflated with the common plan, and as such, I shall address the matter later in my submissions. So, to start by reference to the widespread or systematic nature of the attack, I would like to draw your Honour's attention to the fact that Count 1 contains 9 incidents of murder in one city, Davao, hardly widespread. Ms. Robin Croft, in her submissions yesterday for the prosecution, Tuesday, told you that the widespread nature of Count 1 was evidenced by the multitude of bodies in a quarry, a mass grave. Well, the prosecution and the authorities in the Philippines have had years to continue its investigations since the judicial warrant was reimposed. I mean, they could have dug up the entire city of Davao, but all they have managed to produce the prosecution on the matter is a reference to Leila de Lima in a Senate committee where she talks about the discovery of a few human remains which could have belonged to World War II Japanese soldiers. The same goes for another witness's outlandish assertion.
Yeah, sinabi pa niya, ang mga buto na nakuha ni Leila de Lima ay mga Hapon na namatay ng Second World War sa Davao. So, yan makikita ninyo. Patuloy pa tayo, pakinggan pa natin bago tayo mag-out.
The bodies were thrown into the sea off the coast of Davao.
Oh, may tinapon din mga bangkay sa Samal Sea.
Well, the whole Gulf could have been dredged. But
kailangan daw i-dredge, hukayin ang buong Gulf ng Davao para makita mga bangkay.
One executed corpse has surfaced. As for counts 2 and 3, Ms. Croft showed us some maps with coloured dots to indicate the magnitude and geographical spread of what the prosecution alleges, without, of course, proving that they were extrajudicial killings not countenanced within the 49 incidents. Indeed, For this reason, there is nothing to link the charged incidents, those 49 incidents, to the wider picture. According to the appeals chamber, which confirmed a pre-trial chamber ruling on the matter in Bagbo, filing number 432 in the case record at paragraphs 35 to 36, any factual allegations outside the charged incidents, in this case, masses of generically alleged extrajudicial killings, must be proved to the required standard. And for this, NGO reports, academic statistics, and media articles are, as a rule, considered insufficient. Ms. Croft also screened images taken from the Duterte administration's PDEA report for the years 2016 to 2019, if we can pull that up now, which cite figures of the number of deaths of drug personalities in anti-drug operations without proving that they were illegally murdered. But she neglected to contextualize these numbers by reference to other parts of the same report, which show that in comparison to the number of arrests and operations conducted, the number of deaths are minimal. Please, if you will, show a bar chart that we have helpfully prepared with the figures and a pie chart with the percentages.
Yan. 3% lamang ang namatay. 97% na inaresto, hindi. Pagkatapos, pinuna pa ni Kaufman na wala silang ebidensya sa pinakita na 5,000 deaths kung paano namatay. Very clear na po na wala talaga, tinumba talaga kayo ni Kaufman. Yan ang pinakamatindi talaga riyan. So, siguro naman, sapat na ito para maipaliwanag ko sa inyo na hindi na po mananalo yung inyong pangarap. Ay, si Frederick Natividad, kumusta ka na? O, yan na po, nagbabigay po ako ng GCash number ko, nagpalabas na ko po dyan. Kung yung iba magbigay din po. Kasi wala talaga tayo, wala tayong kita. Na-disbar nga tayo eh. So, anyway, having said that, let me just ask you, paki-like na lang po para naman ay matulungan nyo ko para bukas, abangan nyo naman yung ibang mga ebidensya na busisiin natin at ibagay natin, iparis natin sa tinatawag na warrant of arrest. At kung ano pa, ito malalaman na natin ngayon. I confidently say now that matutumba lang, mababasura ang kaso laban kay PRRD. So, Binmar Huerto, salamat po. Diyan lang muna, matutulog na tayo. Sabi ni Atty. Libayan, matulog na mahimbing. Kung gumising maaga